Article 132 of the Kenyan Constitution, actually 132(1) of the Constitution, mandates the head of state, that is President William Ruto, to give an annual address on the state of the nation. Well, that is going to happen today. Good morning and warm welcome. This is Great KBC, just in time for this special coverage of the State of the Nation address that we do expect the President to be having on the bicameral houses at 2:30 p.m. My name is Ben Troy Njoe. Many thanks indeed for joining us and talking about the State of the Nation address. It is his third, and of course, among what we do expect him to talk about matters governance, accountability, and also corruption, revenue generation, something that has been on the mind of every Kenyan, the debt. We are currently at over 12 trillion Kenya shillings. The cost of living and inflation that a number of Kenya are grappling with, among others, including leadership and also politics as well. We do remember that we are having the by-elections in a number of constituencies, wards, and even senatorial seats in Baringo. That is on the 27th of November 2025. And remember, it will be the first duty of the newly sworn in and elected Electoral Boundaries and Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and of course you can keep up with this conversation via all our social media spaces as we are live. Just a quick one is that we are also having a team in Bunge who we're expecting to give us a feel. Remember, all the two houses will be at the National Assembly to welcome the President and also listen to his speech. We also have our Kisumu team led by Achola Simon and also our Mombasa team. Well, that said, allow me to rope in my panel of experts and allow me to begin from my immediate left, where we have Dr. Reverend Alphonse Kanga. Kanga is the NCCK Regional Chairman. Karibu sana, Doc.
Asante sana.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's good to be here.
Next to me on my right, we have Engineer Jackton Achieng, who is a leadership and governance expert and also a Honorable Secretary of IEK. And it's good to see you again, Engineer. And of course, you will be telling us about the infrastructure. Where are we on infrastructure development? We are also expecting two other panelists, also expecting Dr. Haron Isakasan as well as Dr. Matunga for any time from now. Maybe to begin, Doc, there's something we were looking here. I know, and I hope and I pray that the head of state touches on this. That we were looking at the statistics in suicide. And unfortunately, it's the young people who are grappling with this a lot. 25, 30, 50 people in a weekend. I would like you to just touch on that.
Yes, thank you for welcoming us today. It's a great day as we expect the head of state to give to address the nation today. And there are a number of things happening. For example, today, if we begin and say, what is the state of the nation?
Yeah.
You cannot talk about the state of the nation until you remember what has the nation been formed. Our nation, our Constitution 2010, Article 10(2), is very clear that our nation is founded on justice. And if our nation is founded on justice, there are very key issues that we must think about critically. You cannot have justice without patriotism, no justice without unity, no justice without devolution power, the rule of law, inclusiveness, not only that, integrity, transparent, accountability, all those things in our constitution, in that article 10(2), if you look at all that, it tells you where are we. So if we ask ourselves, when we talk about the state of the nation, the state of the nation is the state of the people. The state of the nation is the state of our economy. The state of the nation is the state of our mindset. Is the state of, do we have food or we don't have food today? Is Wanjiko satisfied? Then, as a clergyman, if asked what the state of the nation, I'll ask Wanjiko, what do you think? Now, from my perspective, from the National Council of Churches of Kenya, recently, we did a quick survey in our meeting of Nairobi and Kiambu 2 days ago. And surprisingly, when you ask them, what's the state of the nation? What do you think about where we are today? Surprisingly, 85% of Kenyans are unhappy and depressed. 78%, they think the performance, where they are, it's because of the performance of the government. Now, not only that, 83%, they think we have a problem in all corners of the country and we need to find a solution.
Yes.
Now, so when we talk of that, then you can see a depressed country, unhappy country, and out of that you can now ask, how comes 23 to 30 people, bodies, they are taken to the mortuary, according to the statistics, every weekend because of suicidal cases. About 30,000 are taken, they die. Annually, because of what? Because of this suicide. Yes. Then that tells you we are in a situation where we are in a happy country, frustrated, depressed. But again, as the engineer said, we need to find out who are these. Majority of these people are between 35 and below. So that means as economic, as the political class, as the religious class, as the academic class, we need to come up with a solution, find out where are we? We are in a situation where we are not happy. And what's the way forward? Some of the things that we need to think critically, as he addressed the state today, yes. We have 13 constitutional commissions. How are they performing? How are they performing in different areas? Yes. Some of them, the youth feel depressed because they have been overtaken by events, and not only that, they are manipulated, dominated, and they don't offer what we expect them to offer. Yeah. And we are spending a lot on those commissions. So we need to ask ourselves, where are we? What's the state of the nation today? Who has contributed to where we are? Who has brought us to this particular area? We have 13 independent commissions established in 2010 constitutions. Judiciary, Parliament, they are part of those commissions. How are they performing? If we talk of stability, integrity, the value system, those independent institutions with an eye in it, independent. If they are independent, then Kenyans will be feeling comfortable. Kenyans will be feeling we are at home. This is our country. So, where do we point our fingers? Independent commissions. Are they? The police are
yes, and of course we'll be looking at the independence of these commissions, because we have seen an issue where we have independent. Actually, look at IBC. Yes. Over the years, it has been independent electoral and boundaries commission, but we have seen a lot of influence from outside as well. But let's pick engineer's mind in regards to the state of the nation addressed today by the head of state amidst the myriads of challenges in the country.
Thank you very much, Troy, for this opportunity to come and talk to the nation. Picking up from where Dr. has mentioned, is that a nation is judged by the perception of the citizens. And based on the numbers that you are seeing, suicidals that we are seeing happening, you realize that basically it is all about frustration, depression, and lack of hope in terms of the future. And this can be able to be contributed by so many factors in this nation. Like an employment case, you hear almost 80% of the suicidal cases are youths. What is the trigger here? The trigger could be just that they are unemployed. They've gone to school, because education system that we are having currently produces so many graduates. But they don't have a place to go, even something that they can be able to do. So they get frustrated, and because of this aspect of staying idle and having nothing to do. So sometimes they end up getting into a situation where there is no hope for the future. And therefore, it's very unfortunate that such we can, as a nation, we can have 30,000 actually, losing 30,000 persons in this era, when we are supposed actually to deal with some of these issues. And this tells you again that as a nation, we need to again to start working on the issue of mental health, because that one now comes in and plays a major role. How are we resilient you know, what is the level of resilience to withstand the challenges that we're experiencing. A country will not always be perfect, but when these imperfections comes in, how can we be able to withstand and have a people who can be able to move forward and contribute towards the development of the nation? And that goes to the health sector, where we have the mental health, and we also have the government putting in place frameworks that can be able to create opportunities for the young people and for the, you know, all the cadres that we are having, gender related and also you know, age related. Yes.
Yeah, and Doc, I'm looking at the clergy and more specifically NCCK. You've come out strongly to point out and to call out the government on a number of issues. Let me just point some of them. You have talked about abductions, you've talked about police excesses, you've talked about graft. Do you believe the government is listening? And for today's State of the Nation address, what would you want to see the president address in regards to the concerns that have been raised by the clergy?
Number one, we would expect him to identify issues that we have failed and point them out and say, in this area we have a problem and this area we have a problem. And then, of course, we don't expect him to do something immediately, but we expect him to give us a direction, a way forward, a vision, a way forward. What are we going to do with these issues in the police department? Of course, between now and the time it's addressed, between the time he addressed the parliament and today, there has been a number of issues. There has been people who have died in police cells. All those things have been there. From there has been a lot of, and we don't take this issue of 30 people reported committing suicide daily. It means there's a problem. And these problems are emanating from the system, from the governance. Because if governance does not provide hope, or if you provide hope, they think that hope is hopeless, then we are not able to move far. So he must be able to provide hope. The head of social provide hope for today, and then tell us exactly what are you going to do to solve this crisis. For example, as I've talked about, the country gave herself Constitution 2010. In Constitution 2010, we have 13 commissions. These commissions have been charged with responsibility to take care of us from different dimensions. For example, if the judiciary are captured, then the Kenyan youth becomes hopeless. If the police have no independence, the Kenyan community becomes hopeless. All those commissions, all those groups, if the IEBC that's in place right now, if they are not going to play independent, if the independent eye in that commission is not going to be seen to be done, then the Kenyans will be so frustrated. And this frustration goes around from this side. And then the value system. We have a value system that is, again, as I said, it's in our constitution. Chapter 6 of the constitution frustrates Kenyans. Kenyans are not the Kenyans that were there in the early 80s. They are the Kenyans who are informed. They know what chapter 6 is all about. Now, if there are a number of things that are happening and Kenyans are questioning, surely, I'll expect for today, there must be something to explain. There has been, for example, there is the housing project. One of the things I expect the head of state to do is to give us the breakdown of the housing project. How much came in? What has been used? Who has owned the houses? How far are we going? Because they are coming, we are donating. This money comes from us. And we are handing over this money to the government to build houses. We need the accountability, the auditing of the housing project, so that Kenyans are assured, yes, we are doing the right thing. Now we have these 50 houses. The 50 houses, number one, Kanga has a house, you have a house. Kanga should not have a house because that house was meant for Mama Mboga. How many Mama Mbogas have the houses now? And how much have we contributed? And it must be seen. The SHA issues, issues of SHA, there's a lot of narrative that is going on in the country. The head of state need to clarify those narratives. The SHA money is being banked on a particular account. This is happening. That's what we expect the head of state. He's the father of the nation. So when he's standing, he should address those narratives so that we don't let those narratives mess up with the country. Because we can say we are doing well. The political class, we might be doing well. The religious class, we might be doing well. The intellectual class might be doing well. But what about these issues where Kenya, 85%, they say they are depressed and they are unhappy? What are you going to do?
Well, you've heard what the Doc has to say in regards to, of course, even the moral compass. And of course, we'll be also delving more into national unity as well. But I'm looking at what Doc has mentioned in regards to also, as part of the clergy, they would want these answers. And also, you know, the $1 trillion question is that we have a 12 trillion debt, 12 trillion Kenya shillings debt. You being an infrastructure engineer, and you have seen some of these projects, being affordable project being one of those infrastructure projects. We've seen roads. I would like you to point out some of the things that you would want the president to come out strongly and explain to Kenyans in regards to infrastructure. We've seen infrastructure development, but of course a lot could be done in regards to that as well.
Thank you, Troy, once again for that question in regards to government involvement in the infrastructure development. Government usually have their budget for any fiscal year, and you realize the infrastructure takes a big chunk of that. And therefore, even in terms of expenditure, that is the portion that will take a bigger proportion of the budget. But the question is, the financing of this particular infrastructure becomes a big question that we have privately through the ones that are being actually financed through PPP. There are those that government does through the exchequer. So my way of looking at it and expectation from the speech from the president is to highlight, based on the previous year's address, that there are areas that were raised, and these were areas to dealing with roads. Yeah, that the infrastructure expansion of the roads. You realize that roads are the main enhancer or a catalyst, and what catalyzes the development within the rural areas and even in urban areas. The mobility of both goods and services depends actually on the connectivity. So the infrastructures that we are coming up with and the government is planning to initiate must actually come out clear in terms of numbers, that is the cost, in terms of the engagement of the consultants and the professionals that are going to, firms that are going to be engaged in this, and how the policies are going to put into place to safeguard the interest of this nation as professionals, and also the personnel and materials that are being used, because that needs to come out clearly so that we are sure that our own, that is the citizens of this nation, are able to get jobs outside of these investments or project initiatives that the government is coming up with. In road sector, we have the energy sector, where we've had so much happening with you know, the yes, that's an agency, one of the agencies. But we have the nuclear, you know, the nuclear infrastructure coming up in this country. We had the wind power. We also have the hydro dams that are being built. We need to see the numbers, where are they, and how are they going to be implemented, so that most important is to ensure that the taxpayers are supposed to be safeguarded, such that Kenyans are supposed to be engaged in these particular initiatives to ensure that we keep in, we economically empower the Kenyans. We have the housing sector that you've mentioned, actually taken from the, you know, the housing fund. Yes. So in this case now we've seen so many of these projects coming up, and the layout in terms of how they are going to be distributed to the citizens. That is, you know, a framework that needs to come out clear. We also have probably giving feedback to the citizens in terms of expenditure. This is what we have collected, and this is now this is where we are headed, and actually what we have used or dispensed in our development is this amount. So when that one comes, it's just like you know, reporting back to the people of Kenya on the performance of the government in that regard. When it comes to, you know, to the airports, the president has been talking about the second terminal. Now, the details of that particular you know, infrastructure needs to come out to the public and how the executive intends to implement that particular project. Because it is clear that, yes, it's required. However, we need to understand how do you want to implement so that we cover or we ensure that we stop all leakages that may be there in terms of financial public funds being lost to individuals. And lastly, you know, we know the future of the nation is future of a country, even globally, depends on the digital infrastructure. I would want to see that also come out in his speech, how we are trying to, you know, to interconnect within the nation and also globally, and how young people can be able to be engaged in that initiative also. Railway lines here, you know, we have the southern part, that is from Mombasa to Nairobi. We also have that serves the western part of Kenya. Now, how are these? Is this going to be part of the initiatives that are there? What are the negotiations that have been with we need to know the financial institutions that are coming in to support that. So when we talk about infrastructure, we can mention so many things because these are the real things that affect the common man. Health sector, infrastructure, leave alone the personnel, the infrastructure. Our hospitals, are they well furnished? Are they well, you know, established in terms of the infrastructure, equipping them? You know, medicine. That needs to come out from his speech so that we can be able to understand that in actual sense there is some hope and there is a way that the government is going to handle some of these things going forward.
And mentioning hope, when I was preparing for this show, I can tell you that in many outlets, social media, in newspapers, on YouTube, people are not quite hopeful. And a lot of people are just talking about challenges that are affecting Kenyans. But Doc, I would like to pick your mind in regards to the infrastructure, because part of the reason our $1 trillion debt that we have, the 12 trillion Kenya shillings debt that we have, is because of infrastructure development. We have seen the head of state from one county to another launching projects in terms of dams, in terms of electricity. We have seen the head of state, he did commission the roads as well. I would like to pick your mind in regards to how the infrastructure development is vis-a-vis how much money we are spending as a country in infrastructure development.
We begin from where we have started. We say that 85% of Kenyans right now, they feel depressed and unhappy. Why are they unhappy? They are unhappy because they are saying they are not developing, but they are mark timing. They are running on the spot. Okay, there are a lot of things that we can say. We can say we have built this, we have built this, but Wanjiko is only comfortable if he can afford a plate of food on his table. The debt. Kenya has 12.6 trillion debt. That's the debt we have. Now, today, as the head of state comes to address the nation, one of the issues that I expect him to say is to give us a receipt. There is no debt without a receipt. Because if you have a debt, the only way you'll make me be comfortable, you give me a receipt. On that receipt will tell me this was borrowed on this day, and it has a stamp for this, and so stamped, and Wajiko will be comfortable. The head of state has the mandate to give us a receipt through all the systems. Simple, give Wanjiko a receipt. Tell Wanjiko, we have 12.6 trillion, and here is the receipt. And we are going to pay all of us. We join hands and pay this debt because it means this money went in this direction, this one went in this direction, because the receipt will say, engineer took this, I took this, and this is why we are. Then that will kill all the narratives. But so long as we go around and tell Kenyans, you know, we have this debt we are paying, and our children are going to pay, and we cannot see a receipt, we create a lot of narratives that are against the system, the ruling system right now, because we are not willing to talk about receipts. We are talking about just the debt and spend, the debt and spend. Bring the issue of the receipt, the receipt in that narratives, then we are comfortable. So the president should address himself to this issue. The other thing that is all the issue is the issue of IBC. IBC, because they are now independent, right now Kenyans are unhappy, 85% they are unhappy with the way things are going. They should be given permission to recall their MPs. If they are not happy about the MPs, let them be recalled, but let IBC not be seen to be protecting specific individuals. For example, if Kenyans come and say, we have collected all our our signatures, and we want to call Dr. Kanga back, let them say, oh, it's your MPS, call him. Let's not be seen as if we are partisan and as if we are, okay? And we as the church, we also, somebody should not tell us not to be partisan. We are partisan in the area of truth and justice. The church is partisan to all what's happening in the community, in the area of truth and justice. So don't tell us, you the church stay away. We cannot stay away because we are part of the community. These are our children. We are part of the system. The same members come and sit with us. When we talk of 30,000 dying every month, what's happening here? The issue is they are dying and we are burying them. They are our daughters and sons. Yeah. And on this issue of mental health, we have great professionals. Dr. Twali at the Aga Khan University, if we make use of it and spend money on this kind of people, they'll give us a way forward just like this. Yeah. But how are we spending our money? If we don't concentrate on the issue of mental health right now, it is going to be a big issue tomorrow. It's Nijanga, the inchi.
Yes, and let me pick from where Doc has mentioned, and he has talked about, if at all we are having a conversation on the national debt, we need that receipt. I'll take you back to after the Gen Z protest last year. I do remember the president issued a statement saying that in the next 90 days, we will have an audit of the national debt. If you remember, engineer, we'll have an audit of the national debt, and so that we may know exactly how much we have got, we are in debt, because the World Bank and also the IMF, they are pointing fingers at Kenya in regards to our debt crisis. And the president said in 90 days, we'll have a debt audit and know exactly what we borrowed vis-a-vis what we are getting in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the projects themselves. Would you like the president to reopen that and give us a clarity in regards to our national debt?
Thank you, Troy. This has been an issue that has been sitting with the president, and it's a hot one. I know of a task force that the president appointed to carry out this duty. However, it's also in court. That one of the citizens went to court to challenge the appointment of this task force to carry out the audit. And I think this is one area that the president needs to come in handy at this point to clarify to the nation where we are, the remedies that have been done from 2022 to date, and also the plan on the way out in terms of where we are headed. At what point are we going now to terminate, like to have a closure to the debts that we are having? And if they are recurring, then we need to also have frameworks in terms of additional debts. If you have to go in, you need to engage the citizens and the nation and the instruments that we have to ensure that the debts that we are getting into, any further debt, is justifiable. It's not just a boardroom decision, which just comes from anywhere. But it must be justified technically, financially, socially, because it must make sense to the nation. That is the only way we can be able to handle that. However, the current running debts must be picked, and we must know where they are. And I believe this is the opportunity for the president to just give the nation the position where we are. It is any policy that has been made in this country in terms of maybe finance policy has actually borrowed so much to ensure that we are taking this, that it goes into the repayment of debts. We've had projects stalling because money has been diverted towards repayment of the debts. So I think the president has an opportunity to at least give feedback to the nation on the position of the debts that we are having, and where possible, I think out of court settlement should be, should be there just to resolve this issue of the appointment of the task force members, and also to ensure that the objective of the task force members is clear, such that when they come out with a clear mandate that the nation will be able to know the outcome of this exercise.
And I like how Doc put it, that we need that receipt of
Yes.
the 12 trillion, how much you've gotten, how much has ended up in some Kenyans' pockets.
Yes.
But Doc, I'm also looking at the president being a symbol of national peace and cohesion in the country. And as NCCK, I do remember that presser where you warned about the increasing political incitement and early campaigns just before 2027. Now we have the by-elections, and we have issues in Embu County. We were having issues in Kasipul. And the church, you have mentioned that in as much as we have almost 2 years, just a year and a couple of months to the general election, but the political temperature seemed to be a little bit on the red, as opposed to, you know, the by-elections that we are used to.
Yeah, this has been an issue to all of us, and it's coming from Wanjiku on the ground, Wanjiku in the church. Wanjiku is asking this question, please. We have 2 years to get to general election in 2027. We are spending a lot of resources here in the name of election. Where are these resources coming from? These early campaigns, are they not denying us time for development? Are they not denying us time to think about hospital growth, education? Now, here are the primary school teachers. They are now those teachers, they are now on the ground. They are talking about being paid 17,000 a month. Now, here we are campaigning. Campaign requires money. Can we save that money and use it for the development of the community? And then structure a way that we are going to deal with it. That's why we said even the leadership, the political class, they need also to save us from these problems. For example, the question on the ground is, there is money that's being given in different directions of the country in the name of development. We want to develop. They are being given to women groups. They are given. Where is this money coming from? That's why Wanjiku will ask, please give us a receipt. Where is this money part of the 17 trillion? The 16, the trillion that we have,
12 trillion.
the 12 trillion. Is this money part of that?
Yes.
Or where are we getting this money to dish everywhere? Right now, we have our senior most officers, political officers and the government officers. They are camped in different dimensions. Some are camped in Mbere, some are camped in Malava, some are camped in Kaspul.
Yeah.
And now they are spending money. Now, as they are spending that money, here are the teachers who are saying, please just give us what we can to afford housing.
Yes.
Give us just money to afford to take our children to school in January. Those kind of things confuse us. That's why we are saying, is it possible for you to relax, put a pause on campaign, and then concentrate on development, so that we can even give the president himself time to operate, so the president will not be firefighting, trying to cool that fire, cool that fire, cool that fire.
Yeah.
I not understand why there is a lot of drama in Mbere. I will not understand why somebody who has never walked on foot, I see him walking on foot in different houses, in mud houses, to poor people, and yet he has gone there with a chopper. Wanjiku is depressed.
Yeah.
The lady you are going to visit there, she lives in a mud house, but you are fleeing there in a chopper. That fuel alone would have built 10 houses for such a people. But here you are only asking for a vote so that you can get that money.
Yeah.
Please, let's be accountable to Wanjiku. Let's be accountable to these people. Again, the issue of the receipt is just that accountability. Tell Wanjiku, you are giving me 5 shillings. These 5 shillings, I've used it that way, so that Wanjiku will stop creating those narratives. Because Wanjiku will depend on what different political class narratives that will come from there.
Yeah.
Because the opposition will bring this narrative, and the government will bring this narrative. Wanjiku will pick what makes sense to her.
Yeah.
But if we have a receipt, Wanjiku will not question. You just don't, this is what it is. But for sure, early campaign, I don't think that's the way to go. Because imagine we start campaigning today up to 2027.
Yeah.
And we have this money we call development funds. Again, we need to know where this money is coming from. Because really, is it people's payment? Is it individuals' payment? Is it individual salary that they are contributing to go and give it out? Or it's part of the taxpayers' money? That also frustrates. And I think the head of state should address this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
A day like today and tell us, well, we have had a lot of money. I've sent officers in different parts of the country, and they are giving out money for development of Wanjiku.
Yeah.
And this money we are getting from
This place.
that narrative goes.
Yeah. Engineer, the doc is bringing a very interesting twist to that, in as much as we are also, the president is a symbol of national unity. NCCK had raised concerns in regards to early politicking. You're a politician as well. And I'm looking at what doc is talking about in regards to some of these things that we are seeing. I think the optics themselves sometimes don't look very well. You're talking about somebody coming with a chopper only share a cup of tea with somebody in a madhouse. We are campaigning a lot, we are politicking a lot, and unfortunately this is also derailing a development. I'm looking at also empowerment programs, so we also need to know exactly where this money is coming from, and we also need a follow-up of, indeed, we have already empowered you, so we have maybe in 6 months or in 3 months, we take stock of what is happening. The early campaignings, and it has really come out very strongly in these by-elections, and more specifically, two constituencies that are being mentioned is Mbere North and also in Kasipul. We are seeing even CSs who, according to the constitution, should not be campaigning. You know, yes. Campaigning for what analysts would say government-sponsored candidates as well. I would like to pick your mind in regards to that.
Sure.
The president should address that as well, to cool the political temperatures that are currently simmering.
Yes. Thank you, Troy. Very unfortunate and scenario we are seeing in the by-elections, and I think we tackle this as a people of this nation. I want to start from the point where we say, government is a facilitator. Government should not be the final service provider to the Wanjiku. They should be able to give, a position in terms of enabling the nation to do business and also to function. But when you come to early campaigns, you will see what they're actually talking about. They are talking about an agenda that is supposed to be actually the government function. Some of them promising those kinds of things. But the question is, even without the campaign, do we still need roads? Yes, we still need roads. Do we need hospitals? Yes, we need the hospitals. And we need power, we need all these other things to ensure that the citizens can be able to do business effectively. But we see now even the government agencies and the government representatives going to the ground for the purposes of their responsibility, whatever they're supposed to be doing, going to sell the same services to the electorates, especially for these particular by-elections. That tells you that they are going against the constitution that we passed in 2010. And therefore, I think based on today's State of the Nation address, the president should be able to come out strongly and advise the state officers just to move out of the ground, to allow the delegate, those who are, vying there, to be on the ground and talk to the people themselves directly without interfering. And I think these early campaigns also bring so much tension to this nation. We've had people dying in some of these constituencies where we are doing the by-election. And if we avoid the rigorous campaigns that are ongoing, then there'll be calm, in these particular sections and in the nation at large. And this will lead now to people refocusing their energy towards, economical, being productive in terms of economics. And ensuring that at least there is some business going on. Because when there is peace and business are going on, government gets even, taxes and whatever, then you can be able to generate more money. So when we look at the bigger picture, then we can actually avoid this kind of, we confine early campaigns to a given period within which, when we are having our general elections or where we have a scenario of the by-elections happening, we limit it to those zones and we get off the government officials from the campaigns. Yeah, it is unfortunate that, the highest level office is on the ground, working in some constituencies to campaign for individuals. That is a very wrong way of looking at things when things that needs to be dealt with are really suffering. Dons were just in the streets the other day for 3 months. Doctors have been out here. JSS is now coming out to that we are mentioning. Nobody's handling this. And it's going to be, again, another menace. In next year, we are talking about this, next year we are having junior the first cohort going into you know, the senior school, what are the preparations that are there? These are the things we should be able to focus on, so that we have our children moving into senior school with proper infrastructure, teachers engaged, you know, and we have a proper management for these particular children, because this is the first cohort. I want that to come out in the address today.
Yes. Dr. Kanga, I'm looking at human rights and freedom now, and as enshrined in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and looking at the human rights record the country has had since, especially, let's just focus on last year and this year. And I would like to pick your mind in regards to the balance of security and freedoms as well. We've seen cases of abductions. Last year we had the same issue. This year we had the same issues as well. And even human rights defenders and even some of the United Nations Human Rights Commission have raised issues in regards to the human rights violations in the country, be it's because somebody has expressed his views, and we also we were introduced with there's a new law now, there's a cyber, which would more or less curtail some of our freedoms if not watched.
I think on a number of these issues, before I answer your question, Troy, there is the issue of the campaigns. One of the things I'll prefer the head of state to address is the narratives that are coming up from the field. Oh, you don't need to register because the election have already been rigged. You see, those kind of narratives, they come up when there is no proper information coming out to Mwananchi. And we need to make it clear that the normal Wanjiku should not be hindered by the narratives like elections have been rigged and who has rigged the election. We all need to make election a simple thing. A system we use to organize government. And when we finish, but when you begin with this narrative, like what's going on in those sides, oh, election has already been rigged, oh, some people are coming now to do this, others are, those are narratives that are created by political class because the end justifies the means. So we need to know how to deal with this political class that creates some shady narratives just to confuse people. For example, the registration of voters. The registration of voters should be so clear. It is open, and IEBC should just come up and clarify everything. Don't take it somewhere else. IEBC is an independent commission. When people ask questions like, oh, you know, why are you scanning irises? Why are you scanning our eyes? IEBC should be able to come up through their professional way and explain to Kenyans it's because of this and this. Is it optional or is a must? Of course, the Constitution says it's optional. If it's optional, then don't concentrate on that. Just tell Kenyans it's optional, because the youth are so mad about it. The youth don't like that issue of taking arrests because there are different narratives that are coming up in the public because of this. And we as elders, what we need is just to be given information. Those are the things, if the president is not addressing them today, he needs to give some instructions so that those narratives will cool the temperatures down so that we can move on as a nation. Now, the issue of the human rights issue. Again, human rights issue, part of them are narratives, part of it are concept, perceptions, and we need to develop systems where Kenyans are given different narratives and perceptions. The human rights becomes a big issue when the information is not flowing well. Because if something has happened, people need information immediately. Like now, the human rights issue in our neighboring country. The human rights in our neighboring country, what we needed is our people just to come, the Minister of Foreign Affairs to come and tell us, this is what's happening, we are on top of it. This is what's happening, we are on top of it. And then people will trust the systems and say, our system is working. Okay, has there been abduction? Yes. Those abductions, have they been clarified? If somebody is abducted, and that somebody is not just a number, it's an individual, it's somebody's daughter, somebody's son, and then you take that as a joke, it's so painful. Because when somebody is crying, a mother is burying the son, and then you say nothing has happened. I mean, we also need to be very careful. And that's when human rights comes in, and we need is something wrong with our system. There is something wrong with our value system, with our ethical vibes. There are no rights without value system and ethical rights in our mind and our operation. What brings problem here? We know there are human rights are there. Do we say that the police should also now just stay and do nothing when there is a problem? No. The police need to do their work as per the laws of Kenya. But when something has gone wrong, there must be communication quickly. And this communication should come as clear and openly and truth. Share with us, even from the religious perspective. Don't leave us in the dark, then we get the narrative from the air, and then we throw it in the air, then you find the whole system. We spend a lot of money controlling those narratives. Yeah. But is there abduction? Abduction is evil. Abduction is not right to any nation. There is no country that abduct her own people and that country expect to move on. No. The citizen will always wake up against that country. And so even if you do it, if you are not part of if the system has not sent you to do the abduction, and then you do it because of status quo or because of the end justifies the means, you need to know that you are doing wrong. You can't abduct a human being. Imagine that's your mother.
There's something that the president should come out very clear.
Clear and say, no, I don't support this, and if this happens, will be done that. Yeah. But also the handlers of the head of state, they need to be very clear so that they give the head state the right information so that he address it rightly in the right direction, so that Kenyans will not be frustrated and depressed and start blaming the system. Okay. There's nothing wrong like to live in a house where you don't trust your parents. That house can be dangerous. You can do anything. Like the children, if the children live in this country, we told the youth the other day, please youth, do not think about going on the streets. Come and occupy the church. Yeah. When you occupy the church, we'll work together with you. Okay. Don't occupy outside, just come and occupy the church where we are. Yeah. Because you need to trust us. And we as citizens, we also need to trust the ruling system. But the ruling system must also prove that they are individuals that we can trust. Because if they are cheating, we'll tell them off.
Okay. Okay, and we'll be talking about more in regards to human rights and also a number of issues, including foreign policy. But let's take a quick break. You're watching the State of the Nation. And of course, we are expecting the head of state at about 2:30 to address a joint sitting of both houses, and it's an annual and constitutionally mandated exercise that we will be keeping our eyes peeled for. But let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.